not believe? And how shall they believe in him in whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without a preacher? When God asks the question, it's good to understand who's actually talking to us. Because he is high and lifted up.
Yes, he is.
So he had Ezekiel question. And about where these bones live. And Ezekiel understood who he was talking to. He talked to the God of the universe, which is, is above all and is all,
Yes.
and all in all. And he said, Sovereign Lord, you alone knows.
Yeah.
So God, we know you alone knows.
Yes, that's right. You know, Lord.
And only you knows, Father. So thank you for being so good. What is a preacher? Someone who delivers a message to an audience or a group of people. The audience can also be one or two people.
All right, then.
In my case, God's first assignment for me was on my old job at Redstone quite a while ago. I was working for a defense contract called Amtech. They had won the contract for TA1, TA2, TA3 in the airfield. We had another building too, I'm not quite sure, I forgot what that one is. At the time, I had moved to the airfield. I worked before then for Dynamic Science, before Amtech won the contract, where I started working at TA3. When Amtech won the contract, that's when I moved to the hangar for the airfield, where they kept the Hearn helicopter. And Max Gergel, which also was a pilot, he was in charge of the Redstone division for Amtech. He was over all the ranges in the airfield. And the airfield was where he had his office, and that's where I moved over to. And God gave me another assignment to talk to him, which I did not do. I was intimidated because of his position. Because of his position and my position as virtually nobody. And I was in fear and not faith. I wasn't even attending church at that time. Then a friend, which I had known for a long time, I started with him talking about the Lord, but I didn't deliver the message completely. I just kind of shrugged it off and didn't get back to him for being busy. This church is also from the beginning of this church. Over the course of time, I have not done a good job as needed. Pastor was preaching one Sunday, and he said that the minister is one, or to be as one. I was just a guy working in the sound booth, teaching children in Bible class, but other than that, as nobody. I didn't have a title position in the newly 4 C's. I did not need one or look for one. In my opinion, we had great staff of leaders. God had me go to the minister to let them know that we, as the pastor has said, should be warned. I was blessed to attend a meeting with Pastor Brown and the ministers that came to the meeting. I was received by everyone and the pastor, and I spoke to them with what God had laid on my heart. I was sure there would be another meeting after that. I wasn't sure whether there would be another meeting after that or not. I thought the minister would understand much better than I would, and it would just take off on his own. So you see, I didn't do a good job with that assignment. So for those of you who know God, Dr. Bendella had a seminar on how to read and study the Bible. I think Minister Ray presented on how the Bible was canonized and put together. And someone explained the difference between the tools we use in books like concordance to help us study the Bible. Then I raised my hand from the sound booth and opened my big mouth and said, "How can you hear without a preacher?" Then God said, and God said, "Jane, how are they going to hear if you do not tell them?" Preachers get rejected by families and churches all the time. So I checked with God again. So he understood my language. And he said, "Let me help you out on this. Because if it was you, you would have never went or go. But because of me, that's why you're going. You do not love them like I do. But let them know that I love them." So that's why I'm up. God loves you, church. And God cares about you. And that's why you see preachers standing before you, talking to you. They're being directed by God to demonstrate how much He cares. In God's case, the preacher was created to bring good news.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Romans 10 and 15.
Yes, sir.
And 10. So he is sent by God. He should have good news for you. What good news? For who? Let's take a look at Genesis chapter 3.
Yes, sir.
Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than the beasts of the field, which the Lord God has made. And he said to the woman, "Yea, have God said, ye should not eat of every tree of the garden?" And the woman said unto the serpent, "We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die." And the serpent said unto the woman, "Ye shall not surely die, for God does know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be gods, knowing good and evil." And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave it unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And out of them were both opened, and they knew that they were naked. And he showed fig leaves, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam, his wife, hid himself from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. And he hid himself, and he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree wherein I commanded thee that thou shouldst not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gave it to be with me, she gave it of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, Who is this that thou hast, what that thou hast done? The woman said, The serpent beguiled. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon the belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and you shall bruise his heel. So you see, the man had brought death unto himself and all of God's creation. Ezekiel 18:20-24. The soul that sins shall surely die. Romans 6:23. The way of sin is death. Revelation 21:5. And he who sat on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things new. Also he said, Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Isaiah 67:17. A new heaven and a new earth, for behold, I create a new heaven and a new earth, and the former thing shall not be remembered no more. And let's look at an audience of one. Genesis 5:21. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. It's amazing how God has a desire to be with us. And you spend the right amount of time with him, he will also take you. That's one of my phrases is, if you spend enough time with God, you will spend all your time with God. So you can see how important you are to God. He himself will come and visit you. Jesus himself taught with an audience of one. John 4. John chapter 4. King James. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples. And he left Judea and departed again to Galilee. And he must need to go to Samaria. Then coming he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parsonage of the ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there, and Jesus therefore began weary with his journey, sat thus on the well. And then about the 6th hour, there cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said unto her, Give me a drink, for his disciple was gone away to the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, ask a drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealing with Samaria. Jesus answered, said unto her, if thou knew the gift of God, and who is it that said to thee, give me a drink, thou would know it, have asked of me, and then I would have given thee the living water. The woman said unto her, Sir, thou have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep from whence thou hast thou that liveth, whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drink of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drink of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst again. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said unto Sir, give me this water, that I thirst no either, and come hither to draw. Then Jesus said unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well spoken. I have no husband, for thou had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. And that said thou true. Then the woman said unto her, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our father worshipped in this mountain, and you say that is Jerusalem, in the place where men ought to worship. Jesus said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet in Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not, for we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But hours come, and hours now, and when the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. But the Father seeks such worshipers. God is spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And the woman said unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. Jesus said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. And upon this came his disciple and marveled that he was talking with the woman. Yet no man asked, Where are these seeking thou, or why talkest thou with thy mother with her? So you see, Jesus had no problem coming and speaking to only one person.
That's right.
So he got good news for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right.
Let's look at Acts chapter 4. Verse 8. Y'all got that one wrong. It's actually 1 Corinthians. It's 1 Corinthians. It's Acts chapter 14. Yeah. Starting in verse 8. They were aware of it in the field unto Lystra and Derbe, city of Liston, and unto the region that lie around. And there they preached the gospel. And there said a certain and there, verse 6, then they were aware of it and fell upon Lystra and the breed, sit up Lycaonia, and unto the region that lied around about. And there they preached the gospel. And there said a certain man at Lystra, impotent, his feet being crippled from his mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paul speaking, who steadfast, behold him, and perceived that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped up and walked. And when the people saw Paul had done, they lifted up their voice and saying in the speech of the Lycaonian, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of man. So you see, church, the God is a God that comes to bring good news to those that listen to the gospel of peace. First Corinthians chapter 1, verse 20. Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the philosopher of this age? Has not God made the foolish the wise of this world? For since the wisdom of God, the world through its wisdom did not know him. God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believe. So it's amazing, church, how God used our wisdom to confound us. And Jesus said, Matthew 11, verse 28 through 30. And Jesus said, come all of you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. John 10 and 10. The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and to destroy. I come that you might have life, and that you might have life more abundantly. Church, if you're looking for that promised land, if you are looking forward to that Sabbath rest, if you're looking forward to the ark of deliverance to carry you back to the Father, look no further than Jesus Christ himself. Thank you, church.